There's so many. I literally picked the first one that pops up my head. I used to believe that the world is really full of scarcity, and that there aren't technologies yet that allow us to be more sustainable. And I thought that there isn't enough food to feed everybody, just to give you a few ideas. But the more I researched, the more I learned, I have come to the conclusion, and here I need to be very smart with my wording.
This is Scratch Your Own Itch, the one show that delivers the conversations that we're afraid to share, but need to. This show is all about creating a life worth living. I'm Logan Tyler Nelson, and I'm your host. So, you're going to hear conversations with creators and entrepreneurs talk about what they do, their current and past traumas, how they became who they are, and what they are truly curious about. This is the show where we talk about the things we think about a lot, but need to talk about more. Please take note that this show is not a substitute for actually creating a life worth living, because this show will stir your beliefs, make you question what it means to create a life worth living. So my promise to you is to always give you one question to answer for yourself today, to start turning your dreams into a reality. So, my curiosity question for you is, what's your plans for the future? It is not the future you should be afraid of, because a lot of people are though. It is the belief that you will make it. But how do you ensure this? Mindset. Mindset is everything. If you switch over to an abundant mindset, I promise you this journey will be much easier. To say to yourself, there is no right, there is no wrong, no good or bad. And to just say, I am going to make a great future. But first, sometimes you need some extra knowledge to really make this happen. And I have someone on today that unlocks that hidden expertise inside of you, the person who believes that there's not a place that is scarcity, but is absolutely abundant for you and your future employment opportunities. And even maybe you want to create your own wealth and make a new spot for you. So today I have strategist and keynote speaker, Dr. Natalia Wiechowski on. She joins me to discuss the ins and outs of personal branding. Natalia and I will go through personal branding in different global markets, choosing the right media channels for your personal brand, using LinkedIn to the fullest potential, creating effective content, and dodging personal branding failures. So, without further ado, give a warm welcome to the one and only Dr. Natalia Wiechowski. Hi, Natalia.
Hi, Logan. What an introduction. Thank you so much. I love the abundance part.
Yeah, I'm geeking out on that lately. So I'm scratching my own itch, and so yeah. The mission of the show is really to sort of see what brought someone to kind of scratch their own itch, and to me that means, they just have this constant question that they're trying to solve for themselves. So, what kind of brought you to where you're at now by scratching your own itch?
Oh, that's a very good question. I tend to be, or I used to be, a people pleaser. So I always listened to the advice and the opinions of others. And I lived my whole life like this until the mid-end of my 20s. And then realized that everybody saw me as super positive and successful, but I didn't see myself that way. And somehow it became clear to me that I actually have no clue what success and what happiness means to me. And that this way of how society perceives success and happiness, that's something that doesn't make sense to me. I felt empty, I felt sick, I actually was sick, and I had the feeling that I wouldn't make it until the age of 60, 70 or 80 if I had to continue living like that. So at a certain stage, I really understood that I need to change if I want things to change, and that life doesn't have to be so much pain. So I quit my job, went on a sabbatical, started doing my homework, read a lot, started meditating, and literally failed myself up to the dream lifestyle that I have right now. And as I am a millennial, I have FOMO, right? The fear of missing out. So social media is my thing. And I'm connected to a lot of creative people because I used to be a competitive dancer or athlete for a very long time. And what I realized is that a lot of creative people, they are outstanding, but they cannot market themselves. And then on the other side, there are people who are really not that good at what they do. Actually, they suck. But they make a huge amount of money just because they know how to present themselves. So I realized, you know what? I need to learn that because I want that amazing lifestyle as well. And I want to help my friends. And I want to do something with social media. And I want to be my own boss. And I really need to face my, please excuse my English, shit. Because if I don't do that, nothing is going to change.
I love it. I love it how you, the last thing you talked about was that sort of like, there are a lot of people that are untalented that just have a wicked good marketing game. And so what do you think is right away are key things that people are doing on LinkedIn that kind of do stand out? And even if it's not incredibly talented, it's like, wow, like maybe it's tools like hashtags or tagging people, or, what are things that people can do to sort of like, maybe they're not good at marketing, but they would love to get in a LinkedIn game.
I think that nowadays there is a lot of noise on social media. So you need to stand out. You need to somehow visually or through your wording or through whatever you do, make sure that you grab people's attention. And it's totally up to you if you do that through vulgar or even shocking material or through a very... I recently spoke to somebody who described Gary Vaynerchuk in a very interesting way. I think he said he uses a lot of colorful language, which I find brilliant. So you can use colorful language, or you can use colorful video material or pictures. Whatever it is, tell people something that questions their way of thinking, something that makes them angry, something that makes them laugh or think. So trigger emotions in people. Doesn't matter if they're good or bad. That totally depends on your brand and its vibe and its overall target. And make sure that you also visually stand out. That would be my recommendation.
I love it. Yeah, that's incredible. Talking about, emotionally grabbing somebody, because I know for a fact that when someone makes me feel a certain way, I remember them, but I don't always remember what they say. And that just goes above and beyond. And I think that's why motivational speakers, they have those trademarks. Like the Les Brown, you gotta be hungry, and so, and do you recommend that for people that are even seeking employment to sort of even think about personal branding themselves? Because this might be a new topic to them where they're like, personal branding, I've never heard of this. Even if I'm just trying to look for a job, would it be smart to do some personal branding?
Absolutely. I mean, in the end, you have a personal brand, if you like it or not. That's just a fact. So it's totally up to you. If you would like to be a passive victim of your personal brand and have an average one, or if you take ownership of your life and get yourself out there and shape it or form it in a way that serves you and your overall purpose. Because what is personal branding? Personal branding can be also called self-marketing or impression management. So in the end, it is a business tool, a leadership tool, a communication tool that helps you finding a job, becoming a better speaker, becoming a better storyteller, whatever your target is. I mean, there's not one target when it comes to personal branding, but I absolutely believe in the power of it. And yes, there's so many ways how you can find a job or actually change the game and be found when you have a great personal brand.
Hey friends, so let me ask you real quick. Are you someone who's trying to get more visibility? Who's trying to be in front of the crowd? Well, if that's you, I want to let you know that first of all, you're not alone. Second of all, if you want to get on more podcasts, or ones that actually scratch your own itch, meaning maybe you have a book, or a business, or maybe you do speaking, or if you don't yet do speaking, maybe you can, and maybe you'd love to. Well, I put something together for you, and in this little giveaway, I'm going to show you how to pitch yourself for podcasts and how to actually be professional when you show up so you can be the next authority in your niche, so you can start scratching your own itch. I know what it's like to build something, create something, and then there just be crickets. No one wants that. You need to be seen. You need to be heard because you have a message to share. A message that is worthy of hearing. Podcasts nowadays, more than ever, are being consumed by people. And guess who's actually learning the knowledge that's being shared? It's podcast listeners. It gives you a license to be an authority in whatever area you really dream of being an authority in. So if this at all starts to give you a little itch to scratch, just email Logan at LoganTylerNelson.com. Again, that's Logan at LoganTylerNelson.com. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Just because it does, it speaks volumes in that sort of sticking out, I think, and going through the noise is when you do have that sort of, that image that someone goes, when they think of that one thing, they go, oh, yep, podcast, that's totally Logan, or, motivation, that's totally Les Brown, or personal strategy, that's totally Natalia. And that's, I think, one of the hardest things though. So I want to switch gears a little bit though, sort of, and ask you, what's a couple of questions that people can ask themselves to really find what they are truly like meant for? Because I think a lot of young people, that there's so many options, and almost we go into paradox of choice, and we think we need to do everything. But as you know, when you try to do everything, you really can't get anything done. It's like chasing too many rabbits. So how do people kind of hone down towards finding that one thing?
Well, first of all, it doesn't need to be one thing. I'm currently reading, wait, give me a second. There was this article that I recently read. Yeah, it was a Stanford article, and it says, instead of finding your passion, develop your passion. And I think that's a brilliant advice. So it was a study that asked a lot of students and people, and the way how we speak about passion in our society is basically, it creates the wrong assumption or perception of, wow, one day it will come down from heaven, or it will knock at my door, boom, passion, here I am, woo, amazing, you waited for me. And that's not the case. And when we also think in this patterns or terms of finding your passion, a lot of people also believe that, oh, it's just there, I'm brilliant at it and I don't need to work for it. While when we speak, or if we speak about developing your passion, it this way of thinking shows us that it is a journey, and that you might, or that you will find what you like eventually, but you might really suck at it in the beginning. So you need to master it. You need to put in the effort and time and everything. And I think two great questions to always ask yourself as a beginning is, what is the biggest problem on this planet that really annoys the hell out of me? So it could be whenever you read an article or watch a documentary or flip through Facebook or have conversations with your friends, whenever this topic comes up, there is some sort of aggression or frustration or adrenaline crawling up in you, and you feel it. You feel this tension in your body, and you just want to, I don't know, like get that negative energy out. So when you realize that you have this, maybe that's your reason why you're here. Maybe you are here to fix exactly this problem. It could be, that we're using so much plastic and that the oceans are full of plastic. It could be that people hate public speaking and you need to help them becoming better public speakers. It could be that a woman who have been out of the workforce for quite some time, when they go back, they face bullying. It could be a squillion things, right? You can help people, you can help animals, you can help the planet. So figure out what this is. And the second question worth reflecting on is something that you mentioned at the beginning. Scratch your own itch. What is this one thing that you always feel naturally connected to? Something that you always read about, something that you always research on. I'm very sure that your calling or your vision is somewhere between these two questions. The answer for it is somewhere in between these two questions. Hope this makes sense.
Yeah, it absolutely makes so much sense. And I didn't pay you to say that you should scratch your own itch. That's awesome. Yeah, because for me, I realized it was a curiosity and the combination of compassion that really was the Drano for any depression that I felt. And I talk about depression. I started talking about depression when I first started the show because I was going through it, because I thought I lost my passion. I had an identity crisis. And when you have one of those, you feel like you don't have any purpose. And when you don't have that, it's like just the absolute
dark.
Yeah, it's very dark. And so thank you for bringing that up. That's really important. I want to cater to, I think, the crowd that it does feel like they know themselves. And so I want to go into what I call scratching surface curiosity questions, where maybe this just might make them feel less alone and make them feel like, okay, they also know that they're headed down the right direction. So we'll go into those questions whenever you're ready.
Sure, bring it on.
Awesome. So I think this is a really just more of a deep question, but what is something that you feel like you're actually doing because of your own desires instead of doing it to try to fulfill everyone else's desires because of all the noise? So what do you think you're actually doing right now that's truly something that you care about?
Learning. I am addicted to learning and self-development. I am that kind of character that freaks out if I don't go through a massive change or through a phase in which I reinvent myself every 3 to 6 months. So I read a lot. I have spiritual questions or conversations. I have interviews with people from all around the world, and I give my best to grow my business and implement the lessons learned into all of that. So something that I really do for myself, and of course my clients also benefit from that. But the thing that I really love doing just for my own pleasure is understanding why we're here. Understanding what my job is, or better understanding what my job is, understanding what will happen when my body isn't here one day, I mean, should we be afraid of death? So yeah, I think anything in that bubble.
Are you afraid of death at all? And what's what's the end plan for that? What are you trying to get to?
Well, there are so many spiritual retreats and conversation that you can have with people that are out there. And I would love to join more of them in the near future and understand it. Because to be very honest, there are a lot of things out there that I still don't understand when it comes to the universe and are we all vibration and what happens after death? I mean, are we reborn? Is it true that if you face everything that you needed to face, that your soul doesn't need to come back once again? Like all of these things, I find it incredibly fascinating, but I haven't found an answer that satisfies me yet, or I haven't grasped it fully yet, to be very honest.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And I think that that's kind of like, that's a process too. It's just a
Absolutely.
process.
Yeah.
You always are trying to get a handle on it. And it's kind of cool in that way. That it's like, I think spiritual, it has a new definition nowadays. It's really like, instead of just joining a church, like you can be spiritual in your community, even on LinkedIn, I believe, and really just come together and lift other people up. And that's what I do like LinkedIn for, is that sort of being able to lift people up. Because you're known on LinkedIn too. You even have, I believe, if I look at your profile real quick, you have on there like LinkedIn, LinkedIn trainer, for example. So does LinkedIn pay you to help them train people on how to use the platform, or you just put that on there to sort of like go, hey, you can pay me for consultation with LinkedIn?
Yeah, the later on. There are quite a few companies that encourage their employees to be more active on LinkedIn, but their staff doesn't know why to use it or how to use it. But it's not only companies, it's also individuals. So I did my research and I realized that the majority of people, they rather search for LinkedIn trainer than LinkedIn guru or LinkedIn consultant or whatever. It's simply, a little bit of SEO research that I've done. That's why I use this term.
Well, thank you for just giving us the gold right there.
You're welcome.
So what is something that you're struggling with? And you don't have to get totally deep and totally what I say vulnerable, but if you want to go there, I think it really helps someone to sort of go, okay, yeah, I'm going through this right now, and make someone feel like, okay, yeah, she is successful on the outside, but heck, we're all going through something.
Very good question. For me, as I grew up in a very competitive thinking family, I mean, my mom used to be an athlete, and she was very high in what she did. She was a professional, how do you call it, an ice skater, and she was literally in the highest team in Poland. And my dad used to be a ski teacher. So literally, I mean, since I was able to stand, they put me on skis, and then I learned swimming, and I learned dancing, and I learned badminton, and I was always super involved in sports. So I grew up with a mindset of, you can do anything, you just need to put in the hours and the work. And that's amazing on the one side, but on the other side, it's also a little bit of a curse. So I regularly work myself into a state of mind where I'm really tired and I should have stopped earlier. So I literally need to put up Post-its in front of my screen or next to my laptop and set a reminder in my phone. It's 5:30, close that stupid thing down and go for a walk, do some sports. Because I can easily sit, and work for 10 hours per day, but that's not good for my body, that's not good for my balance, that's not good for anything. So yeah, learning to balance or find a healthy balance between work and real life, especially when you see your business really, getting to the next level. Oh gosh, that's something I really need to work on.
Hey, Logan Tyler Nelson here. I would so appreciate it if you took some time to hit the subscribe button. I really want to just honestly live and give. Why? Because I was told when I was young that if you're feeling down, the best way to feel better is by lifting someone up again. So in an effort to make someone feel less alone, please hit the subscribe button so the podcast has a better chance of being found and making someone feel less alone. And if you're feeling down, hey, it can help you. Know that by hitting that subscribe button, you just did someone a huge favor. So thank you for hitting that subscribe button. Oh, you're so not alone in that. I know. I get it. I totally get it. What I recently switched over, and take it or leave it, but I remind myself of this question because I'm very much in that. I think it's a rat race. I think I need to keep working, otherwise I'll never make it. And I don't even know what this thing is. Like, what is that thing is? But I remind myself that everything always ends up working out. It always does. I don't know why, but the universe always just ends up working in one's favor. I mean, even if you get a flat tire, like, it ends up working out somehow.
Yeah. Most probably you will be introduced to an amazing person who gives you that chunk of information that will change your life. And because of that, you needed that flat tire.
Yep. I love it. So I want to go into just more rapid fire, I guess, questions where it's just 30 seconds or less type answers. But I really want to know, Natalia, who is one person that you wish you could sit on a bench with, dead or alive, and who would it be and why?
I think the Buddha. I think the Buddha would be totally cool because he meditated for so many years and he went through different kind of phases and stages in his life with total pleasure and indulging and total scarcity. And I would ask him a lot of things or figure out where I'm thinking in a wrong way. Like maybe there are ways how he can guide me. Maybe there are tasks that I didn't get yet. So yeah, I think the Buddha.
That would be pretty cool. I'm a huge fan of that man. The Buddha. I love it. And that's one thing that I love is like you can make fun of the Buddha and that's part of it. That's okay. It's just allowing yourself to be more of you. And I feel like there's other, I'm probably going to lose listeners right now, but there are other religions that sort of, I guess, they kind of smuggle you instead of opening you up. So
I think of Buddhism not really as a religion. I think of it as a life philosophy or as a set of rules that will help you making your life easier and be nicer to yourself and others. So same with meditation. For me, meditation is not a religious practice. It's self-care. It's just something that various studies have shown it has a positive impact not only on yourself and your body and everything, but also on other people. So, let's put religion totally at the side. That's something that we can all benefit from.
Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely. So I'd like to ask you though, what is something that you had a belief in 5 years ago or maybe 10 years ago? Take it wherever you like. But a belief that you had that nowadays, if you ask yourself this question, you go, wow, I can't believe that I actually believed in that garbage.
Oh, very good question. I think, there's so many. I literally picked the first one that pops up my head. I used to believe that the world is really full of scarcity and that there aren't technologies yet that allow us to be more sustainable. And I thought that there isn't enough food to feed everybody, just to give you a few ideas. But the more I researched, the more I learned, I have come to the conclusion, and here I need to be very smart with my wording, give me a second, that maybe not everything that is portrayed out there is actually true. Like maybe there already are technologies, maybe there is enough food, maybe there are alternative energy resources that we could use. Like maybe we could fix all of our problems within less than 6 months if we really wanted to. But the question is, do we want to? And I think there are a few people that don't want to, and that's the major problem. But I don't want to turn into conspiracy theories here.
Oh God. Yeah, we could go a whole nother 14-hour long episode about going in the conspiracy. I geek out on that stuff.
Oh, same here.
I love it. So how do you like to consume content? Because you are a very smart and wise woman. And I'm just curious, like, do you like to read books? Do you like to do audiobooks? Do you like to do podcasts, YouTube videos? What's your one go-to source?
Audiobooks, because you can listen to them anywhere. Like, for example, yesterday I was stuck in traffic and I realized that a little bit of anger and frustration was crawling up with me. So I was like, whoop, give me a second, and turned on my audiobook, Eckhart Tolle, what was it? Silence. What was the title? Something with silence, the power of the now, or silence, or whatever. Stillness speaks. There you go. And he calmed me down within seconds. I learned something new, and instead of sitting in my car for 20 minutes being grumpy and starting to swear and getting my energy level down, I invested 20 minutes into a few new thoughts. I stayed on positive energy, and that's it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love it. That's why I love technology, and I'm a total I'm an audio listener for sure. I'm an audio learner for sure. Like I totally get that. But what is maybe a go-to podcast choice for you?
I think the podcast that I listen to the most is the one of Tim Ferriss. He's just brilliant. I mean, that guy is just amazing. His curiosity and his passion for self-development and for hacking the out of life is just so admirable. So I think definitely he's the guy whose podcast you regularly need to listen to, and your podcast, of course.
You're amazing. Thank you. It's funny because Tim Ferriss is exactly what I strive to. I don't want to emulate him, but I do definitely see that he's doing something where I'm like, yeah, that's the kind of work I like to do. It's just from a quarterly period of my life and just go all in out and just keep tackling that thing for a quarter of my year or life or something like that. And he continually does that. I don't ever want to be known as a person that was like, oh, that guy was the master of that. I want to be a master at being a master of many things. So, and giving myself permission to be okay with that. Cause like, I definitely have like extreme, sort of ADHD, and my mind goes faster than most people's. So like, I can go from one thing to another thing in a very proficient way. And I notice it's hard for some people to go keep up. Like if you notice this interview, if you look back, you're like, all right, they went there, they went there, they went there. And I just,
we're on the flow. It works.
I think it's more important for people to connect the dots for themselves instead of trying to like hold their hand and paint the perfect picture inside their head. I just think it's a more of a working relationship when people do kind of like put up their dots and match it together, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah.
But hey, I want to get a little glimpse of your morning routine, a thing that you strive to do in the morning to set you up for the right day.
So I always start my mornings with meditation, 10, 15 minutes. When I wake up and I realize that there's some sort of awkward feeling crawling up with me, I don't know what it is, anxiety, stress, whatever, I meditate even longer until I understand what it is and literally allow that sensation to get out of my system, and then after the meditation session I can then take action. So always meditation. Next thing is having a great breakfast. I don't function without food. I love food and that's also one of my motivations to get up. So if you struggle with getting up early, then plan the evening before what you're actually going to have for breakfast. That will make you jump out of bed like, woohoo, awesome, life's good. What I also do is I have a look at my to-do list that I usually created the evening before that, double check if it still makes sense. And then I focus on the most important thing that I need to do at the moment for myself / my business. And I focus on that for, I would say 2 hours, sometimes 3 when I'm in the flow. And then I go into social media work, email work, and then it's usually already 12 and then the morning is over.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's a solid morning routine right there. Just got 2 more questions for you and then we'll wrap it up. The second to last question is, where's the one place people can find more of you?
Like where I'm spending the biggest amount of my time at the moment? Or
where people can get connected with you, where if they reach out and they want to learn more about you and maybe work with you, where can they go?
Sure. I mean, if you like reading, then have a look at my blog, thinknatalia.com. If you would like to have an idea of my everyday life and, be part of my journey, then Instagram is a good idea. My handle is @thinknatalia. And if you're more interested in business hacks and strategies and a lot of content when it comes to personal branding and content strategy, then LinkedIn is the best choice. And you will find me under Dr. Natalia Wiechowski.
I love it. Awesome. I'll throw in one of those in the show notes. I think I'm going to do one because I think that when you give too many things for people to do, they end up doing nothing. So
yeah, of course.
I'm going to throw in, yeah, for sure, the Instagram one. And so that'll be a great place to connect with you. Awesome. The last question is more of something to leave the listeners off with themselves, a sort of self-inquisitive question, because I think answers are so important, but I even think that it might be questions that we ask ourselves that lead to quality life. So what's a self-inquisitive question someone can ask themselves today?
Let me think. I think it was Robin Sharma who taught me that. I think there are 3 questions that you should ask yourself every day. And the question is, what have I done that today that makes me a better person? So what is it that I have learned today? If not, well, maybe it might be time to implement, learning or self-development into your daily actions. What is one thing that I did to help others? So it doesn't need to be you donated $1 million, and it doesn't need to be you, I don't know, rescued a dog or a cat somewhere on the street. It could be making somebody smile, or it could be helping somebody carry bags, whatever it was. And I forgot the third question. But definitely when it comes to yourself, so what did I do to learn? What did I do to become a better person? And what did I do to help others today? If you ask yourself these 2 questions on a daily basis, I think you will feel more balanced, you will feel more successful, you will feel happier, and you will feel more successful.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. I think that's amazing. That is amazing to answer those questions. And I just want to acknowledge you and say, Natalia, you're doing something incredible. And I really look up to you in the LinkedIn space. I go, wow, this girl is always saying stuff that just that really is thought-provoking. It's always compassionate. It's always very uplifting, and I love it when I find people like that. I just want to be around them more. So I'm really happy that you took up the invitation to even come on the show, and I don't think this will be the last time we're talking, and I just can't wait to share with the world more of Natalia Wiechowski.
Thank you so much, Logan. I had heaps of fun. Thank you for your time and for this great conversation. And I'm very sure that this was the first one, but definitely not the last one.
Awesome. Well, we'll let the listeners go. And I'll plug in, like I said, anything in the show notes. And if you heard anything that I said or Natalia said, hey, it would mean the world to us to quote us and put it on either your LinkedIn profile or Instagram and just tag us and go, hey, I heard you on Scratch Your Own Itch. And if you do so, either of us will definitely reach out to you. So that would be awesome.
For sure.
There'll be girls across the nation that'll eat this up. Babe, I know that it's your soul, but could you bottle it up? Get down to the heart of it. No, it's my heart. Your shit out of your luck. Don't make me tell you again. Woo! Love, love, love. Hey. Love, 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 love.
Oh, wow. You made it to the very end of the show. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Scratch Your Own Itch with your host, Logan Tyler Nelson. To make it to the end, gosh, that doesn't happen very much nowadays. I mean, especially with the constant distraction. So I appreciate all of the efforts that you just took out of your day to make it to the end. And if you hit that subscribe button and leave a review, you would have no idea what that would mean to me. So thank you so much for taking the time to hit that subscribe button. And if you leave a review, check it out. Just screenshot it, send it to me, and I'd love to host your review out on the show. But don't ever forget, like I say, you matter and you're enough.
Love is the main reason for how all this happened. Love for all my fans, love for all the shows. Got love for all my memories, no matter where I go. Even if I'm out to nothing, I know there's always something. It's not a fitness test, but it'll always